A 14-person IAEA team is on its way to Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The International Atomic Energy Agency's chief, Rafael Grossi, tweeted that they must protect the safety and security of Ukraine's and Europe's biggest nuclear facility. He added that he was proud to lead the mission to the plant later this week. Speaking to France 24 last week, he said carrying out inspections in a war zone was high risk. The Zaporizhzhia plant has been occupied by Russian forces and run by Ukrainian workers since the early days of the 6-month-old war, and has been the target of strikes in recent weeks with shelling in its vicinity. There are fears there could be a massive radiation leak. The facility was temporarily knocked offline last week.
Brown masses invade the British coastline, muddying the turquoise seawater. These are almost daily scenes in the United Kingdom as abundant discharges of untreated waste flow out from the sewers. According to the association Surfers Against Sewage, 171 locations on the coast have been hit by overspill this summer alone. As a result of the pollution, swimming is now forbidden in several places, like here in the southwestern town of Budleigh-Salterton. The phenomenon isn't new. Untreated excretions often make their way to rivers or sea from upstream pipelines where the infrastructure can date back to Victorian times. When the volume of waste becomes too much, rather than backing up into homes and streets, it's pumped out of 15,000 storm overflows around the country.
French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to Algeria. It looks like Macron's bid to mend broken ties with a country which was once under French colonial rule has not gone down well with the Algerians. Now, during his visit to the city of Oran, the French president decided to talk to the people after exiting the music store, Disco Maghreb. And this is what happened when Macron decided to talk to the Algerian people. He was booed by the residents who were present there, even as he tried to put up a brave smile and tried to wave at the crowds and also showed a thumbs up to them.
This is all that's left. The 3 people inside killed on impact. This splintered timber illustrates how this light aircraft crashed. It came down hard, a wing and other debris ripping off in the crash landing. The rest of the plane sliding some 50 metres up the hill through even more tall trees in a remote part of Fernvale outside of Ipswich. So hard to reach, it took paramedics some 4 hours to reach the crash site, driving up a dirt track, then heading the rest of the way on foot. Flight tracking has the plane leaving Roma in Western Queensland this morning at 7:20 a.m. and landing in Dalby just before 9. It departs again 15 minutes later with the pilot and 2 passengers on board before crashing outside of Ipswich at 10:07. The pilot was dealing with bad weather, dropping altitude fast from 2,000 to 500 feet drastically just before hitting the bushland.
Angola's former president, José Eduardo dos Santos, was laid to rest amid a family row. The funeral, which was disputed by some of his children, was held at the historical palm tree-lined Praca da Repubblica in the seaside capital Luanda on what would have been Dos Santos' 80th birthday. It comes days after his party saw its worst result at the polls in a hotly contested election since independence.
In a first transit since Nancy Pelosi's visit through the Taiwan Strait, 2 US Navy ships sailed through the strait on Sunday. This is the first such transit reported since US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan earlier in August, at a time when tensions have kept the waterway particularly busy. According to the statement released by the US 7th Fleet, the cruisers transited through a corridor in the strait that is beyond the territorial sea of any coastal state. China conducted many military exercises in the strait as it sought to punish Taiwan after Pelosi visited the self-ruled island against Beijing's threat.
This is Artemis Launch Control with an update. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell-Thompson has called a scrub for today. Again, Launch Director Charlie Blackwell-Thompson has called a scrub of the attempt of launch of Artemis I and the Space Launch System with the Orion spacecraft. The issue that came up was an engine bleed that couldn't be remedied, but the rocket is currently in a stable configuration. It was mostly tanked, but not completely tanked. Engineers are now working on a plan to continue gathering data about this particular engine and the bleed that didn't work out.